Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Just That I am playing Final Fantasy XIV. Once again, there's a cat on my lap, so you might hear her purring while I'm recording this video. There's no going around that. Anyway, last episode we did the second course of Bahamut. Today we're going to go and do all, if not, like, a part, if not all, of the third coils. I'm not sure how smoothly it's going to go. Also, I need to teach my cat to not attack my cables. Man is wont to cast light wheresoever secrets lie hid in the darkness, though that which he illuminateth seldom bringeth him joy. So it is with such unhappy truths as Bahamut's immense shadow doth conceal. Yet ever onward forgeth Mistress Alisaie, undeterred by the burden of knowledge that weigheth heavy on her heart. 'Tis a perilous path she hath chosen, and a painful one. I prithee, Lyn, remain by her side as her vigilant blade, that she might see her quest to its conclusion. Lyn, it is well you are here. My lady, how might I serve you this day? I have met with some difficulty in my mission, Urianger, and I should be grateful for your counsel. As you know, Bahamut's physical form is regenerating beneath the Carteneau Flats even as we speak. If we are to prevent his return, we must needs disable the two remaining internment hulks that sustain him. Every moment our mission is delayed, the realm is pushed closer to the brink of destruction. Alas, though I have determined the locations of the fragments of Dalamut leading to the box, I have been unable to find a way to enter them. And gaining admittance is but the first step in your perilous undertaking. When last thou descended into Bahamut's subterranean fastness, thou didst discover, didst thou not, that the dread primal had bound the shade of Nael van Darnus unto his will. And though thou didst consign the fallen Negatus to blessed oblivion, thou mayest recall that the piteous wretch was not alone. Doubt not but that Bahamut's other thralls shall seek to hinder thy passage. You can't say his name, Urianger. I have not forgotten that my grandfather is waiting for us. My lady, I would remind you, as I must often remind myself, that the man whom we both loved and revered is no more. What remaineth is but a shade which defileth his memory. The vile verbiage that spilleth from his lips must not be heeded, for it cometh not from your grandsire, but from Bahamut himself. You need not worry, Urianger. Come what may, I will not stray from the course. I will not let grandfather's sacrifice be in vain. But mere words will not take us whither we must go. As I said, I have been unable to find a way to enter the fragments of Dalamut. My lady, might I suggest that you visit the fragments again in Lyn's company? Full oft hath the Warrior of Light set events in motion by virtue of her presence alone. 'Tis possible that you may do so again. I, the while, shall search for answers of mine own. By our efforts combined, full sure am I that the path shall be revealed to us ere long. Were it anyone else, I should question the wisdom of such advice, yet I cannot deny that what you say about Lyn is true. Very well, I shall do as you suggest. Assuming you have no objections, of course. Good. Now, we seek entry to the two fragments of Dalamut. One lies at the Burning Wall in Eastern Thanlan, and the other at the Singeing Shards in Mordona. I left an assistant at each location with instructions to continue searching for a means of ingress. It is not impossible that they could since have found something useful to us. Let us begin by visiting my man at the Burning Wall. Dex, I think it was. Questo accepted. Fly, sugar. Oh, honey, honey. Also, something that I have not mentioned yet, I think, in any case. I may have mentioned it at some point. When we beat Twintania, I actually got a really rare drop from her, which gave me about 4 million gil. So that's why I suddenly have a lot more money. It's a pretty rare item. I say, are you not Mistress Adair, my lady's most faithful companion? Sinis, madam, at your service. And may I say what an honor it is to meet you. How goes the survey, Dex? Ahem, my lady, it shades me to say that I have found no viable path to the fragment. Though it stands here before our very eyes, the way thither has thus proven impassable. When the fragments fell and pierced the land, it caused a prodigious amount of ether to spew forth. It was this that gave rise to the land's twisted lay, which seems destined to thwart our every effort. Even were an opening to exist, I feared we would struggle to reach it. We cannot give up. Keep trying. So near and yet so far. Well, it avails us not to stand here and stare at the thing. Let us away to Mordona and try the other fragment. Perhaps Sinis has fared better. Upon that note, my lady, there is something I must tell you. I'm sorry to report that I lost contact with my brother just over a bell ago. As you know, the Singeing Shards are home to many fell creatures, ogres among them. While I do not wish to cause you undue alarm, I fear something unspeakable may have happened to Dex. What? Why didn't you... Give me strength. You must hurry to my assistant's aid, Lyn. To the Singeing Shards. To the Singeing Shards. Where the place burns like hell. Blah 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 blah. These are the Singeing Shards. I do love these things, like, aesthetically. So cool. Seeing how the land is just warped by all of this shenanigans. 80. 80. Thank you, adventure. For a moment there, I feared that my bones were to be ground up and used to bake bread. I am relieved to see you are unharmed. It was wrong of me to pass such a dangerous task upon you. My lady, your worries are wasted on me. It was nothing at all, I assure you. If it please you, I shall report on my findings. As you can see, though the tip of the fragment is exposed, the rest is encased in rock and crystal, rendering it impossible to enter the structure. You might try excavating the area around the fragment, but that is likely to take time, and there really is no telling how deep you may need to dig before we find a suitable point of ingress. As such, I am forced to conclude that gaining entry to this fragment is unrealistic. Forgive me, my lady. Confound it, we are losing precious time. What are we to do? "'Tis I, Urianger. Glad tidings have I for thee and my lady. For a blessing a way has been found by which thou mayest enter the remaining fragments of Dalamut. Pray escort Mistress Alisaie to the cerulean processing plant in Northern Tanlan. There all shall be made clear." Urianger has found a way. Then we must go to him at once. Urianger. Urianger. My apologies for summoning you thus afar, my lady, but 'tis here that your journey may finally begin. I did wonder, to my knowledge. There are no fragments in Northern Tanlan. Nor are you mistaken, my lady. Yet a pathway doth exist, one which you yourself have made use of in the past. At the conclusion of your several forays into the Blinding Coil, Binding Coil, there's at the crystal formation which lies to the north of this place that you did emerge, was it not? Yes, an ethereal stream bore us back to the surface, that much I had surmised. Are you suggesting we can use it to return underground? And even if that were possible, would it not simply bear us back to those places which we have already explored? It need not, my lady. Pray allow me to explain. Upon evidence of your experience, it seemeth plain that two interment hulks may share the self-same ethereal egress. From this we did infer that others may be connected in likewise. Thus did we labor long to whatever, the existence of further tributaries to the self-same stream, in which task we were at length successful. It was then but a matter of arriving at a solution to the problem of traveling to an unattuned destination. That one might reach what we call the headwater. We propose to employ a modified aetheryte which serves to amplify such ripples as do originate from said source. By focusing one's essence upon these ripples, it should be possible to make the journey, yet be fairly warmed. My lady, as with all untried modes of ethereal travel, this method entaileth considerable danger. Merely to attempt the voyage could cost you your life. That risk I am willing to take. You're brilliant, Urianger. But I'm curious, did you have assistance in forming this plan? I could not help but noticing your repeated use of the word we, unless you have taken to using the majestic plural in our absence. Nay, my lady. As you have correctly surmised, I was not alone in this endeavor. Meaning there are others who are aware of our mission? But it cannot be helped now. Preventing Bahamut's return is what matters. If some secrecy must be sacrificed to achieve our goal, then so be it. Bum, 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 bum. So that must be the modified aetheryte. But what are the Immortal Flames doing here? Those men may be sworn flames of Ul'dah, but they are first and foremost faithful retainers of House Leveilleur. Alphino, so it was you who was helping Urianger. Who else could it have been, dear sister? Lest you worry, I have no intention of making the details of your venture public. Like you, I would prefer to avoid causing a panic. But given that which is at stake, namely the survival of the realm, one must be willing to accept help when it is offered. Would you not agree? At very least, do not be cross with Urianger. 'Twas at my behest that he kept silent. We will speak later. Pray forgive me, my lady, but knowing full well your intent, I judged it meet that Master Alphino be informed. Though your grandsire hath become Bahamut's thrall, his noble blood courses yet through both your veins, and if he must needs be struck down. Do you hear it, Alphino? I mean to strike down grandfather, and when I have done so, I shall banish Bahamut to the ether. Nothing you say will sway me from my course. I will protect Eorzea, and I will uphold grandfather's legacy. Grandfather's legacy, so you still do not know what you yourself desire. Your actions are still driven by borrowed resolve. Borrowed resolve? What does that have to do with anything? Protecting Eorzea was grandfather's goal, and we made it ours, both of us. That is why we came here, unless you have forgotten. God forbid I should ever forget, Alisaie. But you misunderstand. I do not question your resolve, only once it came. If it were your own, you would be able to tell me precisely why you desire so fervently to protect Eorzea. Yet you cannot, for it is not your resolve, but grandfather's. You may struggle to see the difference, but borrowed resolve shall never be as strong as that which springs from within. But let us speak of this another time. For now, preventing Bahamut's return is all that matters. To be plain, I have no objections to striking down whatever is left of grandfather. Know, however, that I will be accompanying you this time. As the son of House Leveilleur, I would be present for his final moments. Very well, you may join us on one condition. I make the decisions. If it please, my lady, the name's Erkenrath. The preparations are just about complete. You're ready to embark on your mission. Just give me the word. I'll be waiting for you at the cerulean processing plant. Pay no heed to my brother. You can rely on me. We have come far together, you and I. And together we shall see our journey to its end. God frickin'... There we go. Ah, no. No, not exposing the chat. Erkenred. I've been waiting for you, Mr. Sadair. I am pleased to say that the Aetheryte's primed and ready. As you know, the remaining internment hulks are connected... Oh, son of a... Stop attacking my cable. Are connected to the fragments in Eastern Thanalan and Mordona. It's to the former that we'll be sending you first. Now you'll be starting inside the hulk, meaning you won't have to cover so much ground. The drawback being that you'll be fighting for your life from the moment you get there. Best be prepared for anything, for my lady's sake, if not your own. And that's about all I can tell you. When your preparations are in order, just give me the word and I'll send you on your way. I may even throw in a prayer for your speedy return just to be on the safe side. And there we go. Duty Finder has been updated. I will be right back. So, this is how it looks on the inside. This internment hulk still functions. Oh, I'm burping. The teleportation was a success. We are come to the right place. There's no telling how much further Bahamut has regenerated since we last beheld him. Let us make haste to the main bridge and deactivate the coil. Nod. There were receptacles similar to these in the previous hulk. Those held chimerical beasts, but only the Allegans know what other abominations may be sleeping within. They may well be part of Dalamut's internal defenses. We must stay on our guard at all times. Alright. By the 12 dragons and so many. We were aware that the Allagans possessed a means to control creatures, but to imprison them thus is barbaric. I would not wish such a fate upon my worst enemy. It is plain that no love was lost between the Allagans and the dragons, but was it truly necessary to keep so great a number here? Dalamat did not want for defenses. This we have experienced firsthand. Such guardians as the Allagans created, both living and unliving, were surely no less capable of repelling intruders than these poor creatures. Tell me something, Alfina. Have you not managed to determine by whose will Bahamut exists? No, I have not. At first I assumed that Bahamut had no people of his own, that the Allagans had perhaps discovered a way to simulate prayer itself. However, Nail's words gave me cause to reconsider, specifically the Shade's mention of Bahamut's beloved children. From that I inferred that the Primal is given form by the will of worshippers from whom we have yet to. Oh. God strike me down for a blind fool. Bahamut's beloved children right here before my very eyes. How could I be so stupid? Who else but the dragons of Eldwood summoned Bahamut? Who else but they could sustain him? And to think I wondered why the Allagans kept him imprisoned here. Even should the flame of Bahamut's life go out, his faithful children would summon him back. For this reason the Allagan Empire kept an army of dragons here in a perpetual state of duress. They might sustain the Primal's existence. Truly the Allagans' ingenuity knew no bounds, and neither did their cruelty. Small wonder that Bahamut was so enraged. Let no one deny that it was man who sowed the seeds of calamity. Will you now turn your hatred towards our own kind, dear sister? Do not patronize me, Alfino. I merely acknowledge our guilt. Lest you be in any doubt, I have no intention of allowing Bahamut to lay waste to the world again. Or to lay the world to waste, regardless of the atrocities the Allagans committed against his kind. We have no choice but to eliminate all who worship him, be they his children or his thralls. It seems reasonable to assume that the system responsible for the Primal's regeneration is also responsible for sustaining the captive dragons. If we disable it, all should perish. Let us press on. Why, this looks like a model of Dalamut, yes. For millennia, Bahamut must have gazed at this unchanging view, trapped inside a prison that was scarcely large enough to contain him, unable to move, denied the release of death. How his hatred for man must have burned. And that hatred found an ideal vessel in Neil van Darnus. In many ways, Bahamut is to be pitied, not loathed. But knowing the true extent of his fury, I am more convinced than ever of the necessity of our endeavor. Besides, his is not the only soul that cries out for vengeance.
Gods, he is almost whole again.
His size is staggering. I can scarce imagine how Grandfather stood against such a monstrosity.
This cannot be allowed to proceed any further. Let us disable the coil and move on. Grandfather? No, that man is dead. I will not dishonor my beloved grandsire's memory by calling you such. You are but his twisted shade, the thrall of a mad primal.
You were foolish to disregard my warning, child. Are you so convinced of your own righteousness?
'Tis the rightness of our path that led us to return. Eorzea will never be safe whilst Bahamut remains to threaten all we hold dear. What of the hero who gave his life in defense of the realm? Do you truly dispute the justice of our cause?
My poor, ignorant grandchildren. Your world is shaped by naught but recent conflict. Listen, and I will speak to you of justice. 'Twas in the twilight of the Third Astral Era. The southern land of Mericidia suffered invasion at the hands of the Allagan Empire. With no atrocity too depraved for their purpose, the forces of Allig were unstoppable in their advance. Desperate for salvation, the dragons prayed to one of their first brood, to their ancestor Bahamut. Infused by the power of their fervent supplications, Bahamut arose from the abyss of death and took wing as the Mericidians' new-born god. Yet this great miracle would only serve to further the maniacal designs of the dragon's imperial conquerors. The cruel fetters which bind my lord stand testament to the Allagan's boundless greed and hubris. I once summoned the 12 in an attempt to forestall the advent of the 7th Umbral Era. What then did the dragons of Mericidia do that I did not? Wherefore are they accursed and I exalted? 'Tis man's overweening belief in his own primacy that blinds him to the commonness of his condition and the truth of his own tyranny. As long as man is suffered to remain, the dragons shall never be at peace. Only when the plague of people has been expunged shall the children of Lord Bahamut be free. Then shall the world know true justice.
Stop it! Grandfather would never say such things. His belief that people were worth saving never faltered. He had faith in their strength, that they could stand together and push back against the darkness seeking to shape them.
A false hope. 'Tis folly to place one's faith in so flawed a race. Stand together? Huh. They would first need to agree on which direction to face. If history teaches us anything, it is that man cannot find common ground between his own 2 feet. Even you, twins whose veins run with the same blood, struggle to fathom each other's reasoning. You hide your differing agendas behind the convenient banner of Eorzea's salvation. Given your obvious self-interest, can you truly claim no kinship with the Allagan? And though I hope they might bring you closer, 'twould seem that the twin grimoires I bestowed upon you were a wasted gesture.
There may well be truth in your judgment of Alize and me, but such a one-sided tirade bemoaning the evils of man rings false, coming from the lips of Archon Louisoix. Tell me, do you champion the cause of dragons because Bahamut compels you as his thrall? Or is it because you yourself have transcended the limits of man's existence?
Ah, so the possibility did not escape your notice. What I prayed for, and what I have become. These are the keys that unlock the truth behind Eorzea's rebirth. If you would have them, then you must needs take them by force. Come, rend this divine form asunder and claim your answers.
But I thought... No. He has become a primal?
It is difficult, I know, but you must accept it. That entity is no phantom or imposter. It is our beloved grandsire.
Please, for his sake and for ours, you must defeat our grandfather.
A few moments later.
Grandfather is truly gone this time. But better it end this way than the alternative.
I am yet here, Alisaie, my dear, sweet granddaughter.
Grandfather?
I must thank you, warrior of light. Without your valor, I might never have broken free of Bahamut's control. These last few moments are mine, to live as the man I once was.
This is all that I wanted. Yet, now that it is happening, I find myself struggling to believe it. Is it really you?
Grandfather, pray forgive me my insolence. It was not my intent to demean you.
Forgive you? I am proud of you, child. You were wise enough to deduce the manner of creature I had become. Alphino, Alisaie, if any here should beg forgiveness, it is I.
Grandfather, I must ask, will you not tell us what befell during the calamity?
Yes, yes, of course. You have come far to hear the truth. Let us then begin the tale at the Battle of Carteneau, where clashed the forces of the Garlean Empire and the Eorzean Alliance. 'Twas there in the sky above the surging armies that the elder primal Bahamut broke free of the Red Moon Dalamut. In an effort to contain this avatar of destruction, I called upon the 12 to aid me in the creation of a prison of ether. But Bahamut would not be caged by such feeble bars. Too vast was his might, too fierce his rage. Little choice remained to me. I used the last of my strength to entrust our hope unto the future, and prepared to meet my end. As you have no doubt surmised, I did not perish. When the cage built from the essences of the 12 was destroyed, the sky was filled with a colossal cloud of ether. This drifting energy responded to the prayers of those fighting below, and to my own desperate wish that the dying realm be saved by infusing me with the power of a primal. I became the immortal phoenix, ancient symbol of rebirth. Rising into the sky, I struck Bahamut with all my newfound strength. The blow shattered his earthly form, and a shower of ether rained down upon the land. Thus began the rejuvenation of Eorzea. Believing the deed done, I relinquished my hold on that staggering energy, desirous that it should be returned to the realm without delay. But I had not reckoned on Bahamut's tenacious will. Even as he teetered upon the cusp of oblivion, the dragon reached out to claim me. Alas, within my fast fading form, enough remained of the Phoenix's energy to offer Bahamut a hold, and he dragged me along in his wake.
And thus began your existence as the Elder Primal's thrall.
I cannot help but wonder at his will to survive. Though he was all but obliterated, Bahamut found a way to seize the power you surrendered. That would explain why part of his physical form survived to be entombed underground.
It would also explain why Eorzea was so terribly warped. Even as the land sought to restore itself, the returning flow of ether was cut off.
Very good. When his grip on existence was once again secured, Bahamut did not cease his feast until he had consumed every last mote of ether that yet floated in the air.
And still he was not fully restored.
You must remember that by this time, much of the freed ether had already returned to the land. That which remained was not sufficient to reconstruct so massive a form in its entirety. But there did not need to be. Not for a being sustained by the marvels of Allagan technology. As long as some piece of Bahamut persists, the coils will seek it out and continue their regenerative task. The fragments of Dalamud appear motionless from the surface, but deep beneath the ground they had been searching, tunneling through rock and soil towards their escaped prisoner. And, as you have observed for yourselves, they found his heart. Warrior of Light, heed me. You must put a stop to Bahamut's regeneration, whether it be for man or for dragonkind. The question of justice is irrelevant. The Elder Primal will leave naught but a smoldering wasteland for both his children and ours. I beg you to defend Eorzea and guide its people to the future they yet struggle to find. This portal will take you to the final internment hulk. 'Tis time for the tale of Bahamut and his part in the calamity to come to an end. Alphinaud, Alisaie, pray, come closer. Your hopes and dreams must no longer be an extension of mine. You must needs find your own reason to fight for this realm, your own meaning in this sea of chaos. Will you do that for me?
Of course, Grandfather. I have already made it my mission to see this newborn Eorzea survive and flourish.
Alisaie, while I was yet enthralled to Bahamut, you spoke of my faith in man's strength. Know that your words reached me, imprisoned though my soul still was. So forceful was your conviction, I wonder if that belief has not become your own. Perhaps, after all your anger and sorrow was spent, you found something greater within you. See this fight to its culmination. 'Tis also your strength in which I have faith.
Thank you for everything. Pray, take your rest, Grandfather. You deserve it.
There are records of an art that allowed one to summon the power of a primal from the essence of its demise. And though I am no true primal, all that I have left, I give to you. Alphinaud, Alisaie, my darling grandchildren. May Light's blessings ever keep and protect you.
Come, Warrior of Light. Our task remains undone. "'Twas a long and arduous road, but at last we reach its end. Farewell, Bahamut. I banish you back to the ether." He is not yet whole! I did not think him capable!
Alisaie! Alisaie!
I had thought it finally over. Will not survive another blast. No. Is this how I honor my promise to Grandfather?
You must needs find your own reason to fight for this realm. Your own meaning in this sea of chaos. Will you do that for me?
I will, Grandfather. In fact, I believe I already have. That reason has been with me all along, guiding me. Eorzea's blade of light, shearing through endless shrouds of darkness. I have been shown the miraculous feats of which we are all capable, of which I am capable. Bahamut, you have wreaked enough havoc. I will not let your wrathful fires consume all that we know and love.
How long I have waited to hear you say that! You have found your resolve at last! Let me join my strength to yours. In this place, in this moment, our purpose has become one! For the future of Eorzea!
This last task is yours, Warrior of Light. You must destroy Bahamut's crystal core.
A few moments later.
did it! But one task remains. With this last coil disabled, there shall be naught left to bind Bahamut to this world. His beloved children will finally know peace. "'Tis done. He is truly gone." You knew, didn't you? You knew what Grandfather had become.
I was not certain, but from all I had gleaned, it seemed a distinct possibility. The scene people describe of the Battle of Carteneau was one of unimaginable devastation, and 'tis through the combined prayers of the desperate and an abundant source of ether that primals are born. I merely put two and two together.
And you consider that a sufficient explanation? Well, however you stumbled across your theory, 'twas this revelation that made you wary of my attachment to Grandfather. You feared that in my obsession, I would fall under his primal sway. Is that why you decided to join us? To pull me back should I show signs of wavering?
Pray forgive me, sister. I wished only to protect you. Yet I see now that I needn't have doubted the strength of your conviction. May I ask you a question? What do you now intend to do with the truth you have uncovered?
Which particular truth was that, brother? The fact that desperate prayer gave rise to the primal phoenix? That this new god was responsible for setting Eorzea on the path to rebirth? Should such a tale become common knowledge, people would soon offer up their prayers in earnest. They would beseech Phoenix to complete the healing that was begun.
Yet as you and I know all too well, the very act of calling forth this savior would do more harm to the land than good. We cannot encourage such worship for this very reason. Were Grandfather forced to return as an ether-draining primal, it would undo all that he had worked to protect. Your abiding love for him was the key that unlocked the truth of the calamity. But keys may also serve to seal doors that were best left unopened. Let your love now guide your actions, and lock away deep inside the fate of both Grandfather and Bahamut.
Fear not, Alphino. I understand what must be done. The realm need not know the truth for it to be saved. That the Elder Primal is banished, to return no more. That is enough. Let us make our way back to the surface. Poor Urianger must be beside himself with worry.
And here we are again. After that descent into madness, the desolation of northern Thailand seems paradisal. Or paradisal? Anyway. As promised, I shan't reveal the truth of the calamity to a single soul. However, the nations of Eorzea will require certain assurances that the threat of a new primal is gone. Kept in the dark overlong, 'tis only a matter of time before they seek answers of their own accord. Let us recommend that the fragments of Dalamut are sealed off, that the truth may rest undisturbed. But first, we must go and report to Urianger what not to do to keep him in suspense. I dare say we shall find him pacing up and down at the ceruleum processing plant. Right. Ah, the warrior of light returneth, undimmed from the depths of darkness. By thy triumphant bearing, I take it thou hast succeeded in thy mission, and yet thou art alone. Mistake me not, dear friend, full glad am I of thy safe return. But where, pray, are Master Alphino and Mrs. Adazay? Here, my friends, forgive us our lateness. We took the scenic route. Bahamut is no more. The realm is safe. By the heavens, look at you! What horrors your young eyes must have seen. What suffering your young bodies must have borne. Pray tell me, where are you hurt? Your wounds must needs be cleansed and dressed at once. I shall make for a poultice which draweth out... Be at ease, my friend. We are hale and whole, I assure you. We took a few tumbles, but the worst of our hurts are healed. I believe we have grandfather to thank for that. Master Wiswa, then you met with him once more. But wherefore should Bahamut's thrall seek to ease your suffering? I promise to reveal all to you in due course, dear friend. But first, there's a matter which requires our immediate attention. Now that Bahamut is defeated, we deem it best to bar entry to all the fragments of Dalamut. To this end, we will convince the nation's leaders that the danger is past and invite their cooperation in ensuring that the fragments are never again disturbed. Come. Let us depart and seek an audience with them forthwith. A moment, sister. You need not burden yourself with this task. Urianger and I will more than suffice. Might you not take this opportunity to rest? The gods know you have earned it. But I'm fine, brother. Besides, you have been through as much as I have. Oh, I see now. You would play your game of diplomacy and wish me out of the way. No, naught could be further from the truth, Alizé. My lady, 'tis mine earnest belief that your brother hath your best interest at heart. You have more than done your part, and he desireth but to relieve you of a burden he might easily bear alone. I have some experience treating with dignitaries, so you must allow. And as you never fail to remind me of my fondness for diplomacy, I feel it only right that I remind you of your aversion to it. Then it is settled, Urianger. Pray make arrangements for a chocobo carriage. The ride should give us ample time to prepare our story. Alphino. Our paths are different. We share the same goal, do we not? But of course, dear sister. That which we have just achieved together stands as a testament to that fact. Whatever path we choose to take, our hearts shall ever lead us to the same end. Of that I am certain. Thank you. There's a place that I would visit. Might I ask you to accompany me? But first, I do believe a change of garment is in order. It won't take a moment. Or it won't take but a moment, whatever. The landscape is the same, of course. There's no reason that it would be otherwise. Though it would be poetic for the fragments to magically disappear, I am well aware that they shall remain long after you and I are gone. The world may change irrevocably, but life shall ever go on. Let us take a closer look, shall we? I have no doubt that Alphinaud will do an admirable job concealing the truth of the calamity. And such truths as were revealed in those dark depths will never see the light of day. I myself agree that it must be so. But the thought that the people of Eorzea shall forever remain ignorant of their savior, of your deeds, the injustice of it is almost too much for me to bear. How typical of you, Lyn. Ever the heroine. Even so, I cannot deny that I feel better for your reassurance. But I want you to know that I will never forget. You are the one who freed Grandfather Sol, and saved Eorzea from Bahamut's wrath. And though these great deeds will never be remembered in song, their consequences will be felt forevermore by every soul who calls this realm home. Yes, this spot will do. For Grandfather, Nael, and the dragons of Mericidia. For all those who were taken by the calamity. At long last, our struggle with Bahamut is over. The realm, given new life through the prayers and sacrifice of countless souls, may look to a brighter tomorrow. When the dust of our adventures is settled, I shall embark on a journey. I mean to find my own reason to fight for Eorzea. And when I do, I will fight with all my being. You have done so much for me, Lyn. One day, I hope to be able to repay you in kind. I have no doubt that you will continue to help those in need, and grow ever stronger in so doing. I shall endeavor to do the same, and if the 12 are kind, I hope one day to become Eorzea's sword in the darkness, as you are. Come what may, you may rest assured that I will not be outdone by Alphinaud. When next we meet, I promise that I will not disappoint you. Till that day, fare you well, my friend, and thank you from the bottom of my heart. And with that, my friends, we have finished the Coils of Bahamut raid series. When finishing, or by finishing it, we acquired, first and foremost, a Wind Up Louisoix, and also the Final Witness title. So, my friends, I hope you enjoyed this really long, probably, episode of just us playing Final Fantasy XIV. And the next episode, we're gonna go and begin doing the patches, aka continuing the main story, finally. Goodbye.